Did you know that over 3,000 heavy metal bands from the 70s and 80s have broken up, vanished, or faded into obscurity, leaving only a few legends still standing today? From shocking makeovers to complete image reinventions, these transformations will blow your mind. 20 heavy metal stars you'd never recognize today. 1. Slash. Once upon a time, Slash looked like a rock star from a cartoon. Wild hair, big hat, dark shades, and a guitar always by his side. He was the guy everyone spotted first, even in a room full of musicians. That look made him a legend. But if you think he hasn't changed, look again. Sure, he still wears the top hat. The curls are still there. The sunglasses haven't gone anywhere. But everything else? It's changed more than you think. The chaos in his clothes is gone. His style is smoother now, more thought out. He moves with calm, not swagger. The fire is still inside, but it's not wild anymore. It's focused. He doesn't need to scream with his look. The Slash of the past was all about flash and noise. The Slash of today whispers power. You'd still recognize him, maybe, but you'd wonder how he got so quiet, so clean, so controlled. The storm turned into a steady flame. 2. James Hetfield. You wouldn't believe your eyes if you saw James Hetfield now. Back in the early days of Metallica, he was a walking symbol of rebellion. Long, wild hair flew around his face while he shredded on the stage. No beard, just a fierce look in his eyes that said, "Don't mess with me." He wore ripped jeans, denim jackets, and leather like he'd stepped out of a rock war zone. He didn't just play metal, he was metal. But that's long gone now. Today, you'd never guess it was the same man. The hair is gone, replaced with a neat, slick cut. His face now carries a calm goatee, trimmed and mature. His tattoos are still there, covering his arms, but they're not on display the way they used to be. The clothes? Simple, black, sharp, clean. It's like the wild beast traded his battle gear for something colder, smarter. He moves like a man who's been through storms, and it shows. The fire inside is still there, but it burns quieter. He doesn't roar like he used to. Now he commands. He's not the wild young rebel anymore. He's the commander, the hardened leader, still fierce, still powerful. But you'd walk past him on the street and never know he once made crowds lose their minds. 3. Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy Osbourne was never known for looking polished. From his early days in Black Sabbath through his solo career, he made a living out of chaos. Long black hair, pale skin, dark eyeliner, and a haunted look in his eyes made him seem part rock star, part horror movie character. His antics off stage added to the image. He bit the head off a bat. He mumbled through interviews. He scared parents and thrilled fans. He was the Prince of Darkness, and that label stuck to him like glue. He embraced it, leaned into it, and built a whole identity around it. But Ozzy is no longer the same man who once shocked the world. Time has taken a serious toll on his body and face. His hair is still dark, but it's thinner now, styled in a way that seems more for covering up than making a statement. His face is lined, his eyes tired. Years of health problems have left him moving slower, speaking more carefully, and leaning on others for help. He doesn't look scary anymore. He looks tired. He still performs, but it's different now. The stage show is more controlled, less wild. There's a sense that he's holding on rather than taking over. He doesn't shock anymore, and some say that makes him less interesting. Others see it as a sign of strength that he's still going at all. Either way, the Ozzy from the past is gone, replaced by someone who wears the scars of his long and strange career right on his face. 4. Axl Rose. Back in the late 1980s and early 1990s, Axl Rose was one of the most easily recognized faces in music. As the frontman of Guns N' Roses, he made a name for himself with wild energy, long red hair, a thin frame, and a stage presence that demanded attention. He didn't just perform, he exploded onto every stage, running, jumping, and yelling into the mic like he had something to prove every single night. His fashion choices, including tight shorts, bandanas, leather jackets, and oversized sunglasses, set a trend that many tried to copy. He looked like a rock god, acted like a firecracker, and moved like a man who had been set on fire. It was loud, messy, and unforgettable. But years passed, and with them came change. Axl's look started to shift. He gained weight. The long, wild red hair vanished and came back in various forms, dyed, styled differently, and sometimes hidden completely under hats. His stage outfits became less about flash and more about covering up. Now he often wears hats and sunglasses that make him hard to recognize. He might be trying to stay private, or maybe he's just adjusting to age and the wear of the road, but it's clear he's not leaning into the wild image that made him famous. His face has filled out, his jawline has softened, and while his voice still holds power, the man on stage doesn't look much like the Axl Rose people remember from decades ago. Fans who only knew him from old music videos would likely do a double take. He doesn't own the spotlight the same way anymore, but he hasn't walked away either. Even if the magic of his younger days has faded, he still shows up. Whether that's enough depends on who's watching. 5. Gene Simmons. Gene Simmons used to breathe fire. No, really. On stage with Kiss, he looked like a monster from a nightmare. His face was painted like a demon, his tongue always out, his black hair wild and messy. For years, nobody even saw his real face. That was the magic of Kiss, hiding in plain sight behind the masks. But that monster look, it's mostly gone now. Gene today? He's hard to recognize. The makeup only comes out for shows. The wild black hair has gone gray. No more armor, no more monster boots. Now he wears dark suits, sunglasses, and walks like a man with money and plans. He's gone from rock beast to businessman. He still steps into the old costume when needed, but behind it, it's someone totally different. The loud, scary Gene Simmons is now quiet, cool, and collected. You'd walk past him without a second thought and miss one of rock's most over-the-top stars. 6. Lars Ulrich. Lars Ulrich used to look like he lived in a tour van. With long, greasy hair and a constant sweat, he played drums like he was trying to break them. Always moving, always loud, always young. The tank tops, the leather, the wildness. It was all part of the look. That version of Lars is gone. Today, he's almost unrecognizable. The long hair is history. He's either bald or wears it short, clean and neat. His clothes are sharp. Suits, jackets, performance outfits that actually fit. You see him now, and he looks more like a CEO than a drummer. His face shows every mile he's traveled, every hour on the road. He still talks fast, still works hard. But the kid who never sat still? He's become a man who plans, who leads, who doesn't need to prove anything. If you saw him now, you might think he was someone's manager, not the guy who helped build one of the biggest metal bands in the world. 7. Tommy Lee. If you ever saw Tommy Lee in the 80s or 90s, you know what wild looks like. Long, messy hair, no shirt, just tattoos. Always moving, always loud. He played drums upside down, got in the news for things far beyond music, and lived like rules didn't apply. But that version of Tommy, he's not around anymore. Today, you'd hardly know it's him. The tattoos are still there. They'll always be there, but now they peek out from under cleaner clothes. His hair, shorter, neater, sometimes even styled. His outfits still have edge, but now they're planned. He looks like someone who went through fire and came out smarter. On stage, he still plays hard. But the wild show is now part of the act, not his life. The real chaos is gone. If you passed him today, you might just see a stylish guy with tattoos, not the drummer who once made headlines every week. That change? It's big. 8. Vince Neil. Vince Neil used to be the wild voice of Motley Crue. In the 1980s, he had long blonde hair, wore tight leather clothes, and looked like a rock star from a dream. He sang loud, partied hard, and never seemed to stop. Crowds screamed his name, posters of him covered bedroom walls, and his face showed up in magazines all the time. He was the perfect image of glam metal, fast cars, loud music, and wild nights. But time doesn't stop for anyone. Now Vince looks very different. His hair is shorter, his body is bigger, and his face shows signs of years spent on tour, late nights, and rough choices. Fans notice the change. They remember the old Vince and see how much he's aged. Some say he doesn't sing like he used to. Others still cheer for him, holding on to old memories. He still plays with Motley Crue and travels to big cities for concerts, but when he walks out on stage, it's clear he's not the same. He's trying, but he's not the man he once was. People keep watching, maybe to see if he can still bring back that old fire. The truth is, time has changed him, and not all fans are sure what to think. 9. Bruce Dickinson. Bruce Dickinson is known for more than just his voice. Yes, he sang lead for Iron Maiden, one of the most respected bands in metal, but he also fenced professionally, wrote books, and flew commercial planes. He was a whirlwind of energy in the 1980s, sprinting across stages with long flowing hair and a voice that could cut through any sound system. He had a strong jaw, a steady gaze, and a look that made fans scream. He didn't have to try hard. He looked like the perfect frontman. Those looks have softened. His hair is still there, but shorter and gray now. His face shows the years with deeper lines and a more thoughtful expression. The wild eyes have become more watchful, maybe even a bit distant. He still sings with power, but he doesn't leap and spin like he used to. On stage, he moves with care, not wildness. He wears clean, simple clothes that make him look more like a teacher than a rock star. That change seems on purpose. He's no longer just a musician. He's a pilot, an author, and a public speaker. He travels the world in more than one way now. It's impressive, but the change is dramatic. People who remember him from Iron Maiden's peak days might not believe their eyes if they saw him on the street. He's aged with purpose, but he's left the rock image far behind. 10. Rob Halford. Rob Halford, the metal god, once looked like a storm in human form. In the early days of Judas Priest, his long hair flew wild, and his body was wrapped in black leather like a knight from a heavy metal future. His voice? It wasn't just loud. It was like a volcano exploding, like thunder crashing through the sky. When he sang, people froze. When he screamed, crowds cheered like their hearts were on fire. Rob was strength. Rob was rebellion. He was the face of heavy metal, bold, scary, and proud. No one could ignore him. No one dared. But things are not the same anymore. Now Rob is bald. He wears sunglasses that hide his eyes. He still puts on the leather, still walks on stage, but it feels different. His look hasn't changed in decades. It's like he's stuck in a photo from the past. His outfit is the same, his walk is the same, but the energy, it's quieter. He moves like a statue being wheeled out, not like a beast breaking free. His voice still sings, but it doesn't roar like it once did. He's not weak, he's just older. Fans still clap, they still love him. He earned that. But something's missing now. The fire's not gone, but it's not burning as bright. And yet, people watch him, hoping to feel what they once felt. They search for the power that once shook their bones. Rob Halford is still the metal god, but time has pulled him away from the stage where he ruled. He's not forgotten. He's not gone. But the thunder now is more like a quiet echo, bouncing through memory instead of shaking the walls like it once did. 11. Bret Michaels. Bret Michaels used to be the wild heart of rock and roll. When he stepped on stage with Poison in the 1980s, it was like someone turned on all the lights and hit fast forward. He had bright blonde hair that flew like fire, a bandana wrapped tight around his head, and eyes full of mischief. He wore eyeliner, leather pants, and tight shirts that showed off every move. Every concert felt like a fireworks show that never ended. Girls screamed. Guys tried to dress like him. And Bret? He smiled like he knew the world belonged to him. Every stage, every crowd, every camera. He owned it. But now, things look different. Bret still wears his famous bandana, still flashes that old grin, but the spark is smaller. His clothes are cleaner, neater, like he's been thinking hard about how he looks now. He still sings, he still tours. But the wild rock shows are fewer and the loud noise has softened. These days, he's more likely to be seen on a TV reality show than in a packed arena. He smiles for interviews, gives friendly answers, and tries to hold the spotlight. But it's not the same spotlight anymore. It's smaller, gentler, and doesn't shine like it used to. Bret is still trying. He wants people to remember. He wants them to see the same fire, the same charm. And sometimes, for a second, you do. You see that old spark flicker behind his eyes. But the world has moved forward, and Bret seems to be chasing something behind him. He's still here, still fighting to be seen. But the wild rock star, the one who ruled the stage like a party king, is now more of a brand, polished, clean, familiar, but not as dangerous as he once was. 12. David Lee Roth. David Lee Roth was once a rocket made of fire and music. He didn't just sing, he flew. On stage with Van Halen, he kicked, flipped, spun, and shouted like the king of the universe. His blonde hair flew behind him like a superhero's cape. His voice hit high notes that shook the rafters. His pants were tight, his shirts were open, and every move he made said, "Look at me, I was born for this." Crowds screamed, lights flashed. David would leap off drum risers like gravity, didn't matter. He was fast, loud, crazy, and full of life. Every concert was a storm, but storms don't last forever. Today, David Lee Roth dresses sharp, but not wild. He wears button-up shirts and dress pants. His hair is short and neat. He still talks like a rock star, fast, full of jokes, full of confidence. But when he sings now, his voice sometimes breaks. The notes that used to come flying out now stumble. His steps are slower. He doesn't leap anymore. He stands still more often. Some fans watch him and feel a strange sadness. They remember who he was. They want that energy back, that fire, that fearless sound. But what they see is a man trying hard to hold on. And David is trying. You can feel it. He still smiles big. He still talks big. He still wants to shine. He wants people to say, he's still got it. And sometimes, in just the right light, with just the right words, you can almost believe it. But it's not the same. Not really. The king of the sky now walks the ground. The flips are gone. The roar is softer. The spotlight is dimmer. But David Lee Roth still stands tall, even as the past pulls at his heels. 13. Sammy Hagar. Sammy Hagar used to hit the stage like a blast of sunshine and thunder. He had wild, curly blonde hair and a voice that sounded like a speeding car flying down a cliffside highway. When he sang, it was loud and fun. Every word felt like a party. He wore bright shirts, big sunglasses, and shorts like he'd just come from the beach. Fans called him the Red Rocker, and when he joined Van Halen, the crowd went wild. He didn't just perform, he brought a full summer storm with him. Palm trees, fast cars, and loud guitars. That was Sammy. He was rock and roll with a tan and a grin. But now Sammy Hagar walks a slower path. His hair is white, but still curly. He still smiles, still wears bright colors, still throws his hands in the air like the party never stopped. But it's a gentler party now. The stages are smaller, the crowds are older. The voice still sings, but it's not the same booming blast it once was. Sammy doesn't try to be young anymore. He's not chasing after what he was. He's enjoying what he is. Some fans love that. They say he's real. They cheer because he's still having fun, still rocking with heart, even if the fire burns a little lower. But other fans miss the wildness. They miss the big noise, the shirtless stage dives, the electric energy that made every night feel like the last day of school. Sammy Hagar didn't disappear, he just changed the station. He turned the volume down, not off. He still sings, he still plays, he still laughs. But the Red Rocker, who once burned through stages, now walks through them like a warm breeze. Slower, softer, but still moving forward. 14. Sebastian Bach. Sebastian Bach once looked like he was carved from lightning. Long blonde hair down to his back, a face like a warrior, and a voice that could break glass. In the 1990s, when Skid Row hit the stage, Sebastian didn't just sing, he roared. He moved like a wild animal, hair flying, fists pumping, jumping around, like the world couldn't hold him. He screamed out lyrics full of pain, pride, and power. Fans didn't just cheer, they screamed back. He was loud, strong, and fearless. He didn't care what anyone thought. He was a fire you couldn't put out. But now the fire flickers. Sebastian still has the hair. It's long, blonde, just like before. But when you look closer, things feel different. His face is older now. There are lines where there used to be smooth skin. When he sings, the high notes don't always land. Sometimes the voice that once made stadiums shake sounds like it's fighting just to be heard. He posts online, talks big, shares videos and updates. He wants the world to know he's still here, still loud, still rocking. But it feels like he's chasing a shadow. He's holding on tight to the past, gripping it with both hands, not ready to let go. And that's where the pain comes in. Fans can see it. They want to believe he's still the same, but deep down, they know time has changed him. His fire didn't die, but it's smaller now, hidden under years of trying too hard to be what he was. 15. Angus Young. Angus Young used to be the loudest guy in the room. When people talk about AC/DC, they almost always think of him first. Not just because he played the guitar like a man on fire, but because he wore that funny schoolboy outfit every time he went on stage. Short pants, tie, and all. He jumped around, ran across the stage, and made faces like a cartoon character. People loved it. It was wild, it was loud, and it worked. But the thing no one really talks about? That outfit was part of a show. Angus was always a bit more quiet than people thought. Now, years later, the schoolboy is gone. When you see Angus off stage today, you might not even know it's him. No crazy outfit, no wild face, just a quiet man in a coat or a sweater, walking slow, head down. He doesn't try to get attention. He doesn't speak much. It's like he's trying to disappear when he's not playing. Maybe he's tired of the spotlight. Or maybe that loud stage life was never who he really was. The crazy boy with the guitar. That was just a mask he wore for years. And now, finally, the mask is off. But fans still want that old version of him. They want the duck walk, the solo on the floor, the hat flying off his head. They don't want to see the man behind the music. They want the memory. Angus still plays with AC/DC sometimes, but he's slower now. The fire is smaller. He plays the notes, but the energy doesn't explode like before. He's older, and it shows. Some fans pretend they don't notice. Others do, but don't say it. Maybe they don't want to believe that even legends grow old. Maybe it's easier to remember the past than face the truth. 16. Scott Ian. Scott Ian made his mark in the 1980s with Anthrax, a band that helped shape thrash metal into something sharp, fast, and loud. Back then, Scott had the typical rocker look: long hair, tight jeans, and a strong stage presence. He wasn't trying to steal the spotlight, but he was always there, holding down the rhythm with steady power. His face was rounder, his movements looser, and his style more casual. He looked like he was having fun, and that attitude helped define the band's image. But that look didn't last. At some point, Scott decided the long hair was done. He shaved his head completely and started growing a long, pointed goatee. Not just a short beard, but a full chin-length spike that became his signature look. It made him look tougher, sharper, and more intense. His facial features became more pronounced, his expression more serious. Some think it gave him more presence. Others say it made him look more like a cartoon. Either way, it's hard to look at old photos and match them with the man he is now. The energy on stage hasn't faded much, but the face and image have gone through a big transformation. Today, he looks more like a biker than a metal guitarist. It fits, but it's a long way from where he started. 17. Dee Snider. Dee Snider was like a lightning bolt. Big hair, bigger voice, loud makeup, clothes that screamed for attention. Back in the 1980s, he looked like a superhero from another world. People stared. Some were scared. Parents hated it. Kids loved it. He was the face of Twisted Sister, and he knew how to get noticed. He didn't just sing songs. He became the message. He fought for freedom in music. He stood up to the government. He wanted to prove that rock wasn't just noise. It had a purpose. And for a while, he won. But the makeup came off. The curls went away. These days, Dee looks more like a coach than a rocker. His hair is straight now. Sometimes he ties it back. No face paint, no wild outfits, just plain shirts and serious looks. He still talks a lot, but it's not on stage. It's on podcasts, TV shows, and online. He speaks about music, about life, about everything. He hasn't gone quiet. He's just found a different way to be loud. Some people miss the wild Dee, the one who looked like a thunderstorm. Others like this new version better. He's older, calmer, but still strong. He's like a lion that doesn't need to roar anymore. The strength is still there, just quieter, but the question stays. Was that old image ever real? Or was it a costume he had to wear to make it big? Maybe he took it off because he finally could. Maybe he's tired of pretending. 18. Joe Elliott. Joe Elliott was the voice of Def Leppard, and when people saw him, they saw a rock star. Long blonde hair, leather jackets, and a look that said he knew exactly who he was. He was cool, loud, and full of energy. His voice filled stadiums. His face was on posters. Everything about him screamed rock and roll. For a while, he seemed like he would never change. But time always wins. Joe still sings, still stands in front of crowds, still wears the old clothes. But look closer, and it's clear. He's changed. His hair is shorter, cleaner. His face shows the years. The fire in his eyes is softer now. He's not the wild young man from the 80s. He's a man holding on to a past that's fading. The band still plays, and fans still cheer, but something is different. The edge isn't as sharp, the moves aren't as fast, The voice is still strong, but it doesn't soar like before. Joe tries to balance it all. He wants to keep the past alive without losing the present. He wants to be the rock star and the man at the same time. It's not easy. Some days he pulls it off, other days he doesn't. But he keeps going because maybe he's afraid to stop. Maybe he's worried that if he stops, the whole thing disappears. Maybe the fans will move on. Maybe he will too. 19. Kerry King. Kerry King is one of the most aggressive guitarists in heavy metal history. As a key member of Slayer, his job was to deliver sharp, violent riffs that hit like a punch to the chest. Early on, he had long hair and only a few tattoos. He looked like a typical metal musician, mean, focused, but not yet iconic. His playing did most of the talking, and it was clear he had something powerful to offer. But then the look began to change. The hair disappeared. His scalp went bare. His arms filled up with ink, then his head, then his hands. Now there's almost no part of Kerry's visible skin that isn't covered in dark, heavy tattoos. Tribal shapes, flames, skulls, they all fight for space across his body. The designs match the music, hard, aggressive, unrelenting. He looks more like a villain in a comic book than a man who once walked on stage in jeans and a t-shirt. That change isn't just about looks. It's a brand now. He leans into it fully, standing like a wall of noise and fury every time he plays. But that older version, the one with long hair and less edge, is gone, replaced by something that feels more crafted, more permanent, and a little less human. 20. Chrissie Hynde. Chrissie Hynde never played by the rules. She didn't care what people thought, and she didn't dress to please anyone. Her voice was strong, her songs were smart, and her look was always the same. Dark hair, straight bangs, black clothes. She didn't scream for attention. She just did her job, and she did it better than most. She led the Pretenders with quiet power. People respected her. Some feared her. She liked it that way. For years, Chrissie barely changed. She kept the same haircut, the same clothes, the same attitude. But time changes everyone. Now her hair is still dark, but it's not always perfect. The bangs are there, but they're softer. Her clothes are a bit looser. The edge is still there, just not as sharp. She still sings, still tours, still makes music. But she moves slower. She talks less. She watches more. She never chased fame. She never played the game. That's what made her cool. And now, in this softer version, she's still cool. But it's a different kind of cool. It's the kind that doesn't need to prove anything. She doesn't smile for cameras. She doesn't beg for attention. She just shows up, sings the songs, and leaves. She's not trying to be a legend. She already is. And maybe that's why she doesn't have to shout anymore. Each of these stars once ruled the stage. They dressed wild, acted loud, and built names that still echo today. But time pulled them all down from the sky. Some try to hold on to the spotlight. Others step out of it. Some wear new faces. Others show the old one with more lines. But the truth is the same for all. The past is not coming back. The fire dims. The crowd gets quieter. The costumes fade. And behind it all, the real person stands quietly, waiting to be seen, waiting to be seen, waiting to be seen.